Hello there, I'm Lee. Well done for getting your work in. It's great to see students taking action and with a real desire to improve their band score. So, good work there, very impressed. Let's move on. In recent society, people are increasingly travelling inside and outside of their country. Good. It leads to the argument as to whether travelling has benefits or drawbacks. This essay will examine both advantages and disadvantages. Okay, a sentence like that on its own is what I call an empty sentence. It could be put into an essay about employment, about gender equality, about global climate change, anything. And we should be writing sentences that are unique to this topic. So we can either put a comma and say this essay will discuss both advantages and disadvantages, or even better, easy copy-paste sentence, which is in the course at the beginning. It says, this essay will discuss both advantages and disadvantages, using examples from Singapore and Korea to demonstrate points and prove arguments. Easy, copy-paste, perfect every time. And it's just like, literally like 5% or 3% of the task 2 under control and perfected. Just stacking the deck in your favour. The one advantage at an individual level is that it benefits people's health. Be careful, that's a contradiction there. At an individual level and then people's health, we might as well just say the one advantage is that it benefits people's health and mental health. So we should just say people's physical and mental health by allowing them to relieve their stress. During travelling, people could be away from their study, work and daily routine so that they can heal themselves. Genius. In addition, at a national level, the development of tourism benefits the economy of one country. An influx of tourists is a good source of income for many countries, as it will flourish the tourism industry in the end. Excellent. No. As it will benefit, as it will help, strengthen, anything. You usually say, jump online, go to Cambridge Dictionary online, and research the use of flourish. We would say, you'd usually put it at the end, the tourism industry flourished due to an influx of tourists, for example. As an example, Singapore is one of those well-off countries in the world, and the main source of income is the tourism industry. Check the accuracy of that. I thought it was financial services. Just be careful. And then also, as we stay in the sentence guide course that you've got access to, put something like, it is therefore clear that tourism has numerous benefits, Okay? Finish it off, round off the paragraph, make it clear. Despite these advantages, there are also some drawbacks of travelling, and that the growing popularity of this phenomenon, of this tendency, of this trend, but let's avoid repetition, could negatively affect the environment. Good. When the country attracts a large number of tourists, there's a high chance that people leave waste. Hardly ever plural, leading to the issues of pollution. Even worse is that tourists also destroy historical buildings. This sentence is saying that every tourist in the world destroys historical buildings, which isn't true. So we need to qualify it. Even worse is that tourists can also destroy, or have been known to, or might, ruining the cultural and historical value of those architects. In Korea, a historical temple stopped having tourists anymore, ever since it was destroyed by tourist scribbles. Okay, this is a really good example, but we could have written it a lot better by avoiding the repetition. So say, in Korea, a historical temple stopped receiving visitors since it was destroyed by tourist scribbles on the walls. It is therefore clear that and we finish off with another summary. In conclusion, there are both benefits and drawbacks of travelling. I think we kind of said, we said that already here. Repetition isn't good, and we said it here as well. So we're on to like the third time. So we need to find different ways of saying this. So in conclusion, the benefits tourism brings definitely outweigh the setbacks, or definitely outweigh the costs. Drawbacks of travelling, as it brings national income and decreases people's stress level, while it ruins the historical assets. However, unfortunately, it does ruin historical assets and the environment. And also, as we stay in the course, the sentence about the future here would be beneficial. It is predicted that tourism will continue to rise, and therefore it should be, and therefore historical sites should be protected by the government. Full stop. Okay, and then we're just squeezing in another tense which we haven't used before. It's relevant to the essay and just helps with your points. That's all. So overall, good vocabulary, but perhaps have a look at the course again and have a look at some sample essays, and you'll see the structure I'd prefer you to be writing in. It's a great essay though. Let's move on to a task 1 academic. The paragraph shows what movies are globally preferred among adolescents according to genre and gender. Excellent. Overall, comedy appears to be the most famous genre out of 6 genres among... See, repetition again. Comedy appears to be the famous one. Yeah, we could even just say, overall, comedy appears to be the most famous genre out of the 6 among both female and male. Among both male and female. However, when it comes to the least preferred movie genre, there was a difference between male and female, as males nominated romantic movies, whereas females chose animation. Okay? And plural. I made it plural because we didn't say a romantic movie, so it has to be plural. Comedy movie is most preferred by both genders. Okay, we're talking about least preferred. Okay, there. Gotcha. Comedy movie is most preferred by both genders, with 145 males and 35 females. In the case of male's preference, the action movie was chosen as the second most favourite, with slightly fewer choices compared to comedy. Good. The figure for the romantic movie is 4 to 5 times smaller than that of comedy and action genres. Excellent. Good little fancy structure there. When it comes to female choice, apart from comedy and romance, which are the 2 most favourite of women's, left 4 genres was chosen. Okay, this sentence needs to be rewritten. When it comes to female's choice, apart from comedy and romance, which are the 2 most favourites, comma, don't put women's in there because we've already put it here. Okay, comma. Okay, so I'm kind of confused here. We're talking about genre, yeah? I would expect you to sort of like mention the other genres here, okay? When it comes to female's choice, apart from comedy, romance, which are the 2 most favourites of women's, action, sci-fi, and criminal are the remaining 3, or something like that. But it gets really confusing here because we're talking about yeah, so this just really needs to be rewritten because I don't understand it. The disparity of movie preferences between male and female was small for animation, comedy, and horror, with less than 10 gaps. Gaps? With, yeah, I would just stick to what we teach in the course, like 3 times larger, 5 times smaller, almost as big as, almost as significant as. These kind of phrases, because gaps I can't really understand. But it's bigger for the left 3 genres. What do we mean by left? It was used here as well. Ranging from 23 for a drama and 85 for a romance. So we could say almost 90 preferred a romance. Just over 20 preferred let's see. Hi there. So I kind of got what you were saying because I found the graph. Where was it? Here. Okay. So what would have been better, I think, would have been to say something like, the largest disparity was regarding romantic films, where female preferences voted, well, where females voted 116, and male preferences was 3 times less at 31. It was more than 3 times less at 31. Another genre with a large disparity was was action, where male preferences were at 137, whereas women were a third less at 82. Okay, or just over 80. Alright, so if you go to these pages, okay, I'll put the link there, we've got sample answers and sample questions. I strongly recommend looking at the sample answers and just copying them, pen and paper. This is quite a quick way to improve. Okay, so you know what to do now. Implement all your corrections, update your error list, and then send back your corrected essay and write 2 new essays, and then check them for mistakes that you made previously. Okay? You're doing really well, and I'd like you to carry on improving. Take care.